Hi, this is Gillian with Gillian Cunningham Realty Group, and today I'd like to talk to you about the 6 items and funds needed to submit an offer. First of all, you'll need to determine whether you'll be financing the property or purchasing with cash. If you are looking to finance the property, you'll need to contact a mortgage lender to determine how much you qualify for. This is important because as a buyer, when you go to submit an offer in most markets, a seller will not accept your offer if you do not submit a loan pre-approval letter or proof of funds. Now, for proof of funds, that is, of course, if you're purchasing the property with cash, you'll need to provide either a bank statement, a letter from your CPA verifying your assets, or a letter from a financial advisor. The next item is earnest money. This is money that you pay to the seller to let them know in good faith that you're serious about purchasing their property. Now, in today's market, typically you're paying 1% of the sales price as earnest money. And so if you're purchasing a home for $500,000, your earnest money would be $5,000. And this will be submitted with your offer and turned into, in the state of Texas, to your title company, who will deposit that check once your contract is executed. The next item is the termination option fee. Now, this is not something that you do in every state, but in the state of Texas, we have something called a termination option fee. And this is where you'll pay a fee to ask the seller to take their house off the market while you do your inspections. Typically, this fee can range anywhere from usually $100 to maybe $1,000, depending on the price of the property. And usually you're trying to negotiate anywhere from 1 to 10 days. Now, in a seller's market, the seller may try to negotiate back such that you only get 5 days or 7 days, but typically you can get around 10 days for the termination option fee. Now, when it comes to the termination option fee, the purpose of this is, again, to allow the seller to take the house off the market while you do your inspections, but it also allows you as the buyer the option to back out of the contract for any reason during your option period. If you should change your mind or not feel comfortable with moving forward with the purchase, or you find that there's some repairs that you and the seller are not able to agree to that will be repaired or negotiated and repaired, you may back out of the contract during this option period. If indeed you do back out of the contract, you would forfeit your option fee. So the seller would retain your option fee. However, you would get back your earnest money. And that's only if you do it within the option period. And again, that's anywhere from 1 to 10 days, and this is completely negotiable. The next item is your inspections. As I mentioned, during your termination option period, you want to do your inspections. And there's 2 types of inspections. There's a mechanical inspection that usually ranges anywhere from maybe $350 to maybe $600 or more, depending on the size of the property. And this is where you will hire, as the buyer, an unbiased third party to come out and take a look at the property to tell you the condition of the property. So they're going to be looking at things like the foundation, the roof. They're going to be looking at electrical, plumbing, heating, and cooling. Now, those are your major mechanical items. They will also check the windows and other items in the house, like caulking around the tub, whether the toilet's loose or whether the toilet is running. They'll tell you all of these things. The purpose, again, is really to let you know what the condition of the property is so that you'll know what you're getting into and perhaps what items will need to be repaired. Now, when you go through this inspection period, you do have the option to go back to the seller to negotiate repairs. But remember, typically you want to go back to the seller for major mechanical items. There are other items like I said, caulking around the tub, things of that nature that are not really major mechanical, and you may be able to do some of those yourself. And in some cases, the seller may opt to do some of those as well. Now, the next inspection is called a wood destroying insect inspection. Now, when it comes to inspections, I typically recommend, whether it's new construction or existing, that you always get an inspection, and that's the major mechanical inspection. Now, when it comes to the wood destroying insect inspection, which is usually looking at things like termites or carpenter ants, that inspection is optional if you're doing new construction, but on an existing home, you definitely want to get a wood destroying insect, because as we go through and look at the property, we can't always tell if there are termites or things of that nature. So that's why you want to hire an inspector to do both the mechanical inspection and the wood destroying insect. For the termite inspection, that usually ranges anywhere from $150 maybe to about $350. So something to keep in mind, and these are fees that you will need to be able to have to submit an offer, because as soon as your contract is executed, you want to start to do your inspections. And I typically recommend to clients that within 24 to 48 hours after you execute the contract, you like to have your inspectors on site to do the inspections. The reason why I recommend this is because if there's an issue for something that needs to be repaired, you as the buyer may want to contact a vendor to see if they can come out and take a look at it and give you an estimate for the repair. You do this because you want to determine if it's something that you want to perhaps pay for, or if you want to go back to the seller to ask the seller to pay for. And if the seller decides they're not going to repair it, maybe the seller may give you money for it, and by getting estimates from vendors, you'll know whether that amount that the seller offers you is something that's reasonable and that can cover that repair. The next item is your down payment. There are many different financing programs out there. One is FHA, and this allows you as the buyer to put down 3.5% of the sales price. Okay. The next financing option is conventional financing, and that program varies. That can typically be at least I say at least, but it's typically around 5%. But there are some lenders that have programs that will allow you to put down 1% with conventional financing, or even 3%. And then you have some individuals who may want to put down 10 or 20% because perhaps they don't want to pay mortgage insurance or PMI. So that's your conventional financing. And then if you're a veteran, you have the option of doing a VA loan, which allows you to do 100% of your financing. Okay. And then there are a few other programs as well. There's jumbo loans, and then there's also a program called USDA. And there's programs out there for service providers like teachers, firemen, and policemen that can assist if you are in one of those professions. There's also programs for physicians and attorneys. So not every lender offers these programs, but if you are in one of those professions, you definitely want to look into the various programs that could perhaps benefit you and help you with your down payment, things of that nature. The next item you want to look into is your closing costs. When you talk to the lender should be able to give you an estimate of what your closing costs should be. And I would say that typically, depending on the price of the home, you may be looking at anywhere from $5,500 to $7,500 for closing costs. And again, this is dependent upon the price of the home. So again, there are 6 items and funds needed to purchase a property. You have your loan pre-approval letter or your proof of funds. If you're purchasing with cash, you have earnest money, you have your termination option fee, you also have your inspection fees for your mechanical inspection and your wood destroying insect inspection, then you have down payment, and you have closing costs. I hope this information has been helpful. If you have any questions about any of the items that I've discussed, feel free to contact me, and definitely subscribe to my channel so that you can find out more about the home buying process and what you'll need to do along the way in order to purchase a property. Again, my name is Gillian Cunningham, and I'll make your next move your best move.